The real deals are not happening on Shark Tank. It's happening at at hotels and in what do you say, office rooms. And I think your viewers will probably be the first to hear about that. I'm on a mission to help 1 million non-coders. The average age of the successful entrepreneur is actually AI can write for me, AI can code for me, AI can build for me, but AI can't create money, print money for me. I think I just wanted to remind people where the real money is actually. Look for boring businesses. Boring businesses will make you money. Getting on these shows, talking about your products to others, building a network, building a brand. When everybody says, go this way, I'll go this way,
I started thinking when everyone was believing that the earth is flat.
There has never been a time where the majority has been right about anything. US will have Salesforce and we'll have a copy of Salesforce. That's when most entrepreneurs, or individuals realize, okay, the only way further from here is to start building your personal brand.
You just said that even like if someone is gunning for $1 billion company, I think people measure billion in terms of the investment, the round, and then, oh, you're a unicorn. Not in terms of the value driven, let alone the profits. Okay, let's come to like your preference here. Since you said that you would prefer to have like a peaceful life and maybe have $1 million company, not even gun for billions and billions. Let's talk about sustainable growth in the form of Evallo and your vision for it. So just zooming out once, Evallo. Why did you start off with Evallo? And why do you think Evallo is a better choice as compared to other lead generation products out there?
All right. So, in order to understand my philosophy around solopreneurship or a solo founder, way of software development, there's this movement called the indie hacker movement, which I would recommend a lot. If you're watching this and you're not yet familiar with that, I definitely recommend going online and searching for indie hackers. So indie hackers are people who are more than happy to build things by themselves, small software that solves problems, and they're focusing on a particular problem and trying to build good solutions around it for both their personal satisfaction and for a good revenue that can come in. So that's, I would say, the philosophy behind my me building Evallo and Antho. Would I love to grow if there is an opportunity for growth? Sure. I wouldn't mind bringing on a few people who are, who want to maybe learn or build with me on Evallo. But like I said, a bigger company means bigger problems. And if I can get a big salary without all the bigger problems, I would avoid it. And today we live in a time and age where it is possible. So that is number one. Number two, you asked me about Evallo and Antho and why it's different or why it's
compared to other lead gen.
I don't think it's better or different. It is at its core. So let me tell you what Evallo is. So Evallo is an evaluation creator that allows people, and I was focusing on creators, so people on YouTube and Instagram who have a bunch of followers or subscribers, but very few of them are actually paying attention. So you need to get these people off of these platforms and get them into your email list, right? So how do you do that? So one of the ways I positioned Evallo was, it is a tool that helps you create evaluations that you can give to your followers and say, for example, how healthy are you? Take this evaluation, right? So you take that evaluation and it'll tell you like, okay, in the sleep category, this is your score. In the nutrition category, this is your score. In, exercise category, this is your score. So if you're a health influencer, right, you can give this evaluation to your followers. People love to take evaluations. Again, psychology. They love to take evaluations because it gives them something in return. But what happens when they do that is, you as the creator of the evaluation get multiple data points about your user. Okay, so if you're a
Right.
health influencer, so now you know that there is Kaustubh, he is this age, he struggles with sleep, he eats these kinds of foods, and he wants this in his life, this is his goals, and this is what he's not able to do. Now do you see what a powerful set of information you have about your customers? Right, so that is what Evallo does. So very basically, Evallo is a evaluation creator that allows you to create evaluations as a way to engage or to attract, engage, and qualify leads at scale. Okay, so that is Evallo. Is it different from the hundreds of other quiz creators out there? Actually, no, it's very basically a quiz creator at its core. Okay, it's only different in the way I've positioned it, the way I have, the kind of people I work with, the like I said, I have a quality or a minimum threshold of creators that I want on the platform, and all of those things. So is it very different? It's actually not. It's very simple, but it's still earning me a good income. Yeah, so if you ask me, right, what is the differentiator of Evallo? It's more a differentiator in the way I position it and the customers that I target, versus is it a technologically different solution or is it something completely new? No, it's not. It's very basically at its core a quiz generator, but in my case it's an evaluation creator which gives users the ability to give feedback to the test takers. So unlike general quiz makers out there which only tells you, which friend's character are you, and tells you, oh, you are Joey, instead of that, in under different categories it allows you to provide feedback back to the user. So that's why I said, that's why in the earlier part of this conversation, I kind of alluded to it, that you don't need to find a great idea or a completely different idea to become an entrepreneur and secure your future. You can use proven solutions or proven domains in the market, and you can be a second comer. Use the second comer advantage. Somebody has already proven domain or a market or a customer's willingness to buy. You come in and you say, hey, I've also got a very similar product, but it also does this. Would you like to buy?
Right.
And yeah, people would love it. So that's why Uber exists, Ola exists, Zepto, Swiggy, Zomato, whatever. Like so many of them exist, right? And there's enough customers for all of us. So that's what I would like to think.
Well, based on your initial feels, based on your expectations for the near future, any specific kind of influencers or businesses you see using Evallo more as compared to others? Like any specific sector in which you are personally targeting tomorrow if you run ads or anything?
Not essentially. I would like to focus on creators simply because I am a creator myself. And I understand that domain quite well, and I understand the challenges around converting a viewer and a subscriber to a follower and an eventual buyer of your solution. So I would prefer. I would not say I have a. I would say I would probably have some criteria around how many followers you have or how big of a business you have in the back end for these creators. But apart from that, I'm more than happy to help any creator out there who wants to, figure out how to convert your leads. Convert your viewers to leads for your business. So
Potential leads.
yeah.
Right. It's interesting you said that. I always wanted to ask someone who is currently running their own business on the value of personal branding. At times, I notice that a lot of people, even if I talk of someone as big as, let's say, the Ambanis, they've built their businesses ground up. Now they're focusing a bit on branding. Anand Ambani is coming into the picture right now, Vantara, a lot of people.
Yeah.
On the other hand, you have a certain set of people who focus on their personal branding while creating their business, even if it comes at a cost of their own business's time that they give, because they somehow feel that building your own personal brand as a founder will in turn lead to better business for your product itself. Where do you stand in this dilemma?
That's a very, very good question, Costa, because this is something I have been thinking about myself. So, about early last year, I saw that Nikhil Kamath, I think Nitin Kamath, I think,
Nothing wrong. Yeah.
yeah, Nitin Kamath, yeah.
The
Um,
roundtable
I,
conferences
yeah,
that he
so
was
I
doing.
found him
Yeah.
creating YouTube videos, and I was like, why the hell does this guy need to create YouTube videos? He's already a billionaire, right? He's created some amazing products. He can literally go back, sit back, relax, and do nothing, and money will still pour in every day. And then I found people like Alex Hormozy, creating a personal brand. I see people every day, people who've done very well in business now coming out and creating YouTube channels, Instagram channels, and building, trying to build rapport with their audiences. And here is my observation. The first thing I observed was that the successful people, or the people that we kind of instantly trust in this space, are all people who have actually built a business first. They were not building their personal brand while they were building their business. They were building their business, they were focused on that, they built it, they made it big, and now when they have, they're at a place in their business where like they don't have to focus on the day-to-day activities, then they can
Right.
help the business reach a lot more people using their personal brand. So that's where I
Right.
see the most effectiveness of building a personal brand. Whereas you see a 21-year-old who has never built a business coming online and talking about business and entrepreneurship and how to grow your Insta. There is no trust there. There is no, I mean, and
Right.
even the value that he's bringing is probably something that he learned from somebody else. There is no insight that comes from actually having done the work, right? The second thing I observed was that I looked at the follower count of Tim Cook versus Apple. I looked at the follower count of Elon Musk versus Tesla. I looked at the follower count of Richard Branson versus Virgin Atlantic.
Wasn't
Can you guess which one had more?
the individual.
The individual, right? So, and I recommend everybody to just go to Twitter or Instagram and look by how much more people follow the person instead of the brand. Okay, so I've noticed that before, it was, companies used to create ads like, we are this thing, we are IBM, we are, this thing and all of that, and people used to maybe pay attention. But now, because of information and technology being accessible on your in your hand, we've somehow gotten to a place where we trust people more than faceless entities. So I think we
Right.
are at that stage in our history where we don't want to hear what some guy sitting behind a computer who's representing a company type on Twitter or X or whatever. They want to hear from Tim Cook. They want to hear what Tim Cook has to say about a topic, or what the founders of Zerodha has to say about the topic. They want to hear what Costa has to say about the topic instead of Sharpner. They don't want to hear what Sharpner, who knows who's behind Sharpner, right? But they want to hear what Costa wants to hear. So these are the two things I have observed, that number one, people who have great personal brands are people who have actually done something. So if you are thinking of building your personal brand, my friends, I would strongly recommend going out and doing something worth talking about, and then getting online, and then if you want to help people do it, that's how you should do it. Otherwise, if you want to build your personal brand, then the only thing I've seen people building personal brands without actually having done any work is teaching other people how to build their personal brands. if that makes sense. So anybody who's building a personal brand around personal branding is a person who's not actually done anything worth talking about. So that's my observations
Got you.
on that.
Okay. I think the same thing we are also seeing in Shark Tank right now. People are all the major sharks out there. Like a boat is a known brand. The reason why I asked this was boat was a known brand much more than what Aman Gupta individually was. Everyone knew what Lenskart is, but people did not know what Piyush Bansal is all about. Now the tables might be also turning a bit. Like people now know Aman Gupta a lot, and a lot of people, like even my house, a lot of people were not considering both. They were fine with the Realme AirPods that they're getting along with their
Correct.
phone or anything. but they're like, okay, let's just give it a shot to what boat is all about.
Yeah.
So you see, it's the entire cycle in which first the brand does have a base footing. After that, the representatives of the brand kind of like create their own personal brand, which again fuels the brand and it goes into a nice, lovely loop.
Correct.
But it has to start with the brand itself.
Correct. So I'm sure, for example, Aman Gupta, has been spending tons of money on ads, right? Before Shark Tank, to get the word out that, getting people to become aware of boat and all that. And then, so in advertising, there is only so much money you can throw before you start getting your ROI flattens out, right?
Right.
So then, okay, so you're spending so much money, and then your ROI flattens out. What do you do then? That's when most entrepreneurs, or individuals realize, okay, the only way further from here is to start building your personal brand, and then using your personality as the unique differentiator for boat, right? Because like you said, there is probably very little difference between boat and Realme or whatever other players in the market when it comes to the technology itself, right? So then how does boat stand out? Then after the
branding.
flattening of the ROI, then the personal branding comes into play, because that's when he realized, okay, this is the only way now to differentiate, right? So they are doing it for certain reasons, others are doing it for certain reasons, but I think the best reasons to do it is because you have actually created something. And let me give you a different perspective. Let's talk psychology. Okay, there is a reason why personal branding strategists or people who have never done anything and who still trying to create a personal brand succeed, and it's because of this. People are not actually interested in Aman Gupta and anybody else. Okay, to be honest, the only reason people watch anything or consume anything is by asking, what's in it for me? Okay, what's in it for me? And as long as you can keep providing value to your viewers, you can build a personal brand, or you can build a following, or whatever you want to build, a online presence. You can do it. That's how youngsters who have not actually done anything are building a following, because they are providing value, and good for them, I would say.
Absolutely, yeah.
At the end of the day, if you understand psychology, that people are only here to, they're only there because Aman Gupta is entertaining them, right? After 2 years, when he leaves the show or whatever, nobody is going to go search for what is Aman Gupta doing right now.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
As long as he's on screen and giving them value, which is in this case entertainment, as long as youngsters like 21-year-olds are on screen and teaching them something, people will follow. So at the end of the day, it is value for the customer. As long as that person is getting value, they will follow. And that's also the double-edged sword with personal branding.
Got it. By that logic, I think Shark Tank, it has become not just a platform for these small startups, but also a platform for these big entrepreneurs to also make a mark for themselves.
Yes.
At least to showcase whatever they can provide.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I think, if I can go so far as to say, I don't think personal branding is what people are looking for as much as reach, so I think there's the reason why, Kaustav, you are creating these videos, the reason why I create videos on YouTube, the reason why I am building, all of these material which I'm putting out freely out there, is, to be honest, less about personal branding but more about reach. And because these platforms give you reach, and when you build your network, so I would like to think of it like, who is your network, and who knows you is your brand, right? So the more people know you, the more opportunities flow towards you, right? And that is the real value that they are getting. They're not the real deals are not happening on Shark Tank. It's happening at hotels and in office rooms, where people who see them are now reaching out to them and saying, hey, can we work together? Can we have a deal? All of those things. So the real value of having a personal brand is the flow of opportunities that comes behind it. So I think I just wanted to remind people where the real money is actually. It's behind the scenes.
All right. Okay, Pramod. Pramod, just going back a bit on Evallo and Antho, anything that you've done in the past as far as building products is concerned or growth of products is concerned, um, a mistake that maybe you have made or you would want to do differently, uh, anything you felt like something is really bothering you that you would redo and probably change one thing in particular?
That's a very interesting and coincidental question you asked, Costa, because just yesterday to my private cohort, I released a book called Second Time Entrepreneur. And the tagline of that book is every noob mistake that I made that you must avoid.
I did
So
not know that.
yeah,
Okay.
and I think your viewers will probably be the first to hear about that because I'll be launching the book in 2 weeks,
Okay.
and it's a book that I designed for help young entrepreneurs avoid these. I think as a first time entrepreneur, right? You will make these 8 mistakes, and the book is about those 8 mistakes. But to answer your question, what is the one thing that I would do differently? But I think there are two things that I would do differently, and both of them are equally crippling to your growth. And the first one is procrastination. The biggest mistake I made is thinking about what I would do if my company reached, unicorn status without focusing on what I should do next. And that was a crippling thing. It took me almost 6 years. 2016 was when I wanted to become a entrepreneur. Till 2022 when I actually got started building something like with my bare hands. Like I needed to get my hands and feet dirty. So my biggest mistake was overthinking, procrastinating, and unnecessarily considering what the future will hold without committing to the next step. Just do the step. So my humble advice to anybody who wants to become an entrepreneur is don't focus on the result, right? Like I want to become an entrepreneur. Focus on the habits that will make you an entrepreneur. So if you think that you need to learn to code or you need to learn to, design, set aside 1 hour every day to design, iterate. So look at the habits that will take you there. Stop looking at the results or the goals. Look at the habits. So there's a great book called Atomic Habits, in case you're interested, that will teach you how to focus on the habits, not on the goals. So when you focus on the habits every day, you will eventually become an entrepreneur. That's the one big mistake that I made that I recommend other people don't. The second one is the importance of understanding distribution. As an entrepreneur, it's very easy to go down the rabbit hole of building your product, making it look nice, making all the functions work and all of that, but forgetting that building a product is only maybe 10-20% of the effort or the work that is required to actually make a product successful. The other 80% is sales, marketing, advertising, positioning, customers, talking to them again and again, getting on these shows, talking about your products to others, building a network, building a brand. Who's going to do all of these things, right? So it's very important not to forget that building the product itself is only 10, maybe 20% at max. The rest of it is also very critical. In fact, more critical. It's 80% of the work, right? 80% of the
Yeah.
work is all of these other things which you should not forget. So these two things I thought maybe is the most important, which I would love to leave with you guys. But if you guys want access to that book, maybe we can talk about that a little later, Costa. But I would love for your audiences to also have access to that book. It will be free for the initial launch period. So why not just grab it at that time?
Sure, sure. Like I'll drop a link in the comments of this video itself, so that people can get access to your book. I could relate to one of them definitely. I think not so sure about procrastination because I think that is more of a hindsight feeling that I should have not done it this way. But the other thing I can definitely connect that that is a problem that even I would want to avoid, uh, even today and maybe also in the future. People do tend to do that a lot. Um, I think also another reason why people go slow in terms of their growth is maybe they are a bit overcautious about how they are gradually building on things. I think uh, a lot of the people who jump onto entrepreneurship a bit too early, maybe even myself, is like it's quite early, and hence the risk is quite high. So that is always a concern as well.
Can I answer that
On
in
that
two
note,
ways? Can I just,
yeah,
if I
sure.
can make a point? The average age of the successful entrepreneur is actually 55. Okay. The reason I say that is a lot of people are under some false belief that they must become a successful entrepreneur before 30 or 40. Whereas the data shows that the successful entrepreneurs average age is 55, which means there are many of them who are at 60, 65, and there are many of them between 40 and 45 also. Okay.
Hmm.
So please don't be in a hurry. That's why build habits and go forward. The second thing, Kostab, I just wanted to share is with regard to risk. Okay, as Indians, we can't take a lot of risk, right? We all come from very humble backgrounds, right? We don't have
Right.
social security. We have to keep our jobs, and we don't have, and most of us don't have millions lying around for us to this thing. So one of the things I wanted to tell you is so this is one of the reasons why I created this program called the Founders Club, okay, where I teach people how to build apps for close to $0. So and one question that you did not ask me, Kaustab, is how much did it cost me to build Evallo and Antho? And the answer to that question is it cost me close to $0. How? Because I use the free tiers of many open source solutions to build and launch. Once I got my customers, then I was able to put that money back in. So I just want to encourage all of you by saying that there are only two kind of risks: money and time. Okay, today you can build apps in 3 to 4 weeks, so you're not spending 8 to 12 months. Okay, so that risk is down. And thanks to low code and open source tools like Supabase and AI all coming together in 2024, your cost to build is also close to $0. The only cost that you need to buy is like a domain name, which is $12 maximum, which is 1,000
Right.
rupees or something like that. Okay, so two risks gone already. The third risk is knowledge, which I want to help people with, right? So on my website it says I'm on a mission to help 1 million non-coders build and launch apps by 2030. And so it is possible. I want to encourage you. You don't have to come to me to learn, but it is possible. Without risk, without spending time, you can build apps, you can secure your future. It is possible. I did it, you can too. Now you just need to figure out how.
Time is money. You're
Time is,
actually
yeah.
kind of living on the age-old principle. Um, you spoke about like 1 million apps. That's your target, and I'm pretty sure like there'll be a huge variety of different kinds of products, different domains. Any particular domain where you feel that it's going to really boom, really about to see a lot of good innovative solutions in one particular area, which maybe you would want to work on, or what are you expecting?
So I'm the kind of guy who, when everybody says go this way, I'll go this way. When everybody zigs, I zag, because if you look at history, and I like to think of myself as a student of history, there has never been a time where the majority was ever right about anything, which is very interesting. There has never been a time where the majority has been right about anything. The people who are always right were always the minority, and those minority
Oh,
voices you never hear. Okay, so for example, in 2019, blockchain, everybody said blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. You could see ads on YouTube how to become a blockchain developer and all that. Then AI came, then everybody started creating wrappers around AI. YC started investing in AI companies. Now they're saying we are not going to continue investing there, they're going to invest directly in OpenAI. So lots of these trends will come and go. My recommendation is to keep your ears to the ground and focus on solid businesses. So I call them boring businesses. Okay, so like if you go and build a car wash, you will start getting money tomorrow because people want their cars washed. Okay,
mhm.
so my recommendation is, instead of getting carried away by what the next big trend is, uh, do the basics today. My recommendation to my students is learn to build apps, okay? And keep your eyes and ears open. If something comes up, now you know to build apps, you can quickly, build a package or build a wrapper and make your money. Ride the wave when it comes. But if you don't know to build anything, then don't worry. I mean, think late, oh no, I wish I had ridden this wave. No, you have to prepare yourself. So the best way for people to prepare themselves today for anything in the future in the software space is to learn to build apps using low code and AI. That is one recommendation. And the other thing is look for boring businesses. Boring businesses will make you money. Entrepreneurship is about making money. Please don't tiptoe around that. Money is not evil. Don't be greedy. Money is not evil. Money is the only thing that will help you sustain your business and help you do what you want to do for a long time. So I don't have an opinion on domain, because domains have generally been very bad, what do you say? I would say indicators of success in the past. Today we live in an AI world. Maybe AI is where the money is, right? But again, AI is also, concentrated to so few people. I don't know. I'm not making a bet on AI or anything like that. Focus on boring businesses. Learn to build software. Software is definitely an evergreen solution. Learn to build now. When the opportunity comes, make your money.
It's really interesting you say that. When you said that when the majority is wrong, I went a bit too back as a student of history. I started thinking when everyone was believing that the earth is flat. So we've been wrong since that time, maybe. But more realistically speaking, like just last week, I took an Uber ride. Okay, it was a Uber moto guy. I have a tendency that if I find the person as interesting, we will end up in a conversation, whether it's an Ola driver or Uber moto guy, anyone. And coincidentally, I asked the person because he seemed like his conversations, the way he was talking was very professional. So he ended up saying that this is just a part-time job. Full-time, I am trying to start my own startup. And I'm like, okay, what's the plan? So he said, I'm collecting some seed money. It's very interesting. He actually used the word seed money. I want to collect 2.5 lakh rupees to start my own small shop to repair mobiles. So I was a bit thinking that like a lot of people are doing that exactly, and this is like easily accessible also. But then I took a step back and said like Urban Club doesn't still have that. Then he corrected me that Urban Club is about to launch 6 months later. But still, not everyone wants to onboard Urban Club or such. Some want to remain independent. And that's when I asked him that why don't you launch your own app, give it to your known customers. Gradually, you might not need that shop altogether to pay rent and everything. So he said, I do not know how to code. That is the problem. And that's when like the ride got over. It was a short ride. And I actually showed him, interestingly, I showed him Flutterflow. In hindsight, I should have shown him a much more simpler no-code app like Builder or something. And he actually saw that. I do not know if he will still use it or not. He connected with me on Instagram. He doesn't have a LinkedIn. He connected with me on Instagram and he started telling me like, this seems like much better than spending 2 lakh rupees anywhere else in a shop or something. So
absolutely,
the thing that you said, 1 million apps, it doesn't have to come necessarily from people like you or me who are like on a day and day basis looking at businesses in our families or big companies being built, but it can start from the grassroots of India as well.
Yeah.
On that note, your overall thought on India, because you're seeing both the sides of the entire sphere, right? You know about the West. West generally leads India by a decade or something in terms of trends. Do you still feel that is the case, or do you feel like India is matching up pretty well?
I have mixed opinions on that, to be honest. I wish I was, wherever I see on YouTube, everybody is so gung-ho about India. But honestly, at the ground level, I have mixed opinions. I think the West is still 10 to 15 years ahead in most things, right? And so am I optimistic about India? I think so. See, let's put it this way. Once you hit rock bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. right? And I think most Indians are at rock bottom when you consider the world stage, right?
Hmm.
Low salaries, large, what do you say, competition. Like, I mean, you look at any job that you apply online, um, like a product manager job, as soon as it comes on LinkedIn or Google or whatever, like 1,000 people apply to it. Okay, and I want you to imagine, Kaustav, if you got 1,000 applications, you would not be able to go through them, right? But that's the
Right.
level of unemployment, and people looking for jobs and opportunities. So whereas in the West, what I see is people are people are more self-sufficient, in the sense that you know they'll they'll go back and do farming, and that's a perfectly normal job. Or they will go back and they will be cashiers in a what do you say, in a hotel or in a restaurant. That's good too. So my recommendation only is, I wouldn't say it's a recommendation. I mean, who am I to say this? But I think if India needs to progress, we need more inventors and innovators who are willing to take more risks. In the West, people are able to take risks because the government supports them.
Hmm.
So if in India we get opportunities to take more risks, then we will get more rewards. So
I
I
think
think
it's
in
growing a
India,
bit.
I I'm not seeing any results. I like to think
With Startup
there are
India
two.
and everything.
Everybody is a startup founder. I am a startup founder. You are a startup founder. Where is the results? I'm being honest here. There's a difference between output and outcomes, right? Everybody is doing a lot of outputs, but what's the outcome? The only way that India can really come on to the world stage is if it innovates. And the ability to innovate, the infrastructure, the ideas, uh, are not in India just yet. So we will have
Hmm.
so in India, what we will have? US will have OpenAI, and then India will have a wrapper around OpenAI. US will have Salesforce, and we'll have a copy of Salesforce, right? Zerodha. You take any software that's big in India, they were first innovated outside of India. So the day
Hmm.
that I see innovative ideas come from India, I will be more optimistic that okay, now we are on a upward trajectory. Right now, I think we are in a flat trajectory. We are going as the days take us. We'll wake up tomorrow and we'll do what we are expecting to do on that day. But I don't. I'm not. I don't. I have mixed opinions. Like I said, nothing. I'm not super optimistic or anything. I think individuals somewhere, maybe there's an Indian somewhere who will do something great, but I haven't seen anything great come out of India. I may be wrong. Uh, maybe I'm not aware of something that's happening in India, but the first innovations always happen outside. So, for example, even now when I talk about building apps quickly without money, without developers, it may seem like that's an innovative way to do things, but the truth is Flutterflow was developed by Google employees. The truth is Supabase was built by Europeans, and we have to use those tools in order to get to where we are. But maybe using that we'll come to a place. But even then, I look at China. Those guys, they were like they were like 20 years behind us in 1970s. Now look at where they are. I don't know if you guys have gone to Shanghai and Hong Kong and all of that, but those guys look even more amazing than the West. So makes you question. I think it's okay to be pessimistic, because then you force yourself to ask the difficult questions. I think India today
Hmm.
is not asking the difficult questions. They want to be happy with what they have. But if we are open to discussion and willing to answer difficult questions, maybe my children or your children will be living in a different age. But I don't think you and I will see that in our lifetime. It's my opinion.
All right. Okay. Pramod, a lot of companies you're working. I think you've had roughly 10 odd experiences. Of course, Evallo Antho as an entrepreneur, country head, product specialist, a lot of advisory roles. Um, on a last note, one thing that has helped you achieve in these roles, one particular quality of yours which you feel everyone should have to excel in the professional world, what would it be?
Again, two things. Number one is um, I always went above and beyond what was expected of me with regards to the work that I did. If you do what you are meant to do, you will get what you were told you will get. That's all. So one thing that I did very well is I didn't accept the status quo. If somebody said this is how products are supposed to be built, I would go and find out a better way to build products, and then I would say there is a better way to do it. Why did I do that? Because I had an internal understanding that is what I told you before, that if everybody is doing it, it's not the right way to do it. If everybody is doing it, it's not the right way to do it. So because of these two things, that the fact that I always knew there's a better way to do it, and I always worked extremely hard to figure out what that way was. I was able to grow leaps and bounds in my career. So if you look at my LinkedIn profile, I went from a programmer analyst to the country head in 10 years, which means there were a lot of leaps in between, and was only possible because I was able to challenge the status quo and have an answer to, when I said that there's a better way to build it, right. Let me show you. Like when I tell people you can build apps for $0 in 3 weeks, FYI, Evallo exists. It exists. It's not something it's not an opinion,
It's it's actual fact.
It's a fact. So if you want to grow in your career, you have to be different. You can't be the same as everyone and expect your results to be different. You have to be extremely different. The second thing I would say really helped me was, I never let age stop me, in the sense, many people in my age group, if you ask them to go sit for a VP meeting or an executive meeting, right, they'll be like, oh, I've never been, I don't know, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to say it, should I wear a coat? But I've never had that problem personally, because I've realized that if you're really good at what you do, everyone will listen to you, and age does not matter. So because I never let age come in between me and my goals, I think by the time I was in my 9th year or something, I was sitting with CEOs and talking to them about strategy. I was talking to them about operational efficiency, right? Because I understood that, and I did my homework. Like I was sitting up till 12 o'clock, while many of them were sleeping by 9. I was sitting up till 12, understanding the domain, understanding the opportunities, all of that. So you work hard. You don't listen to what everyone has to say, because if everybody is saying something, it means it's wrong. Find out better ways, and don't let age stop you. Go talk stuff, talk facts. The world will reward you, because when people see that, okay, this guy can create outcomes, not outputs. You talk to any product manager, you talk to any developer. If you ask them what they can do for the company, they will answer in terms of output. I can work 8 hours. I can do this. I can build databases, or I can create Figma screens. I can create, like if it's a project manager, he'll say, I can help you build, I can make sure you're efficient, on time delivery. Those are all outputs. Okay. Here's what an outcome sounds like. I can make you $2.5 million in the next 6 months. You see the difference? Okay. I was always the guy who could create outcomes. Here's how you can break into that market using this strategy for this cost. That's an outcome, not an output. How you do it, nobody cares. You use Jira, you use this tool, you use Flutterflow, nobody cares. So if you want to leapfrog in your career, this is the answer. All your peers are focused on outputs. Okay, if you can shift and focus on outcomes, that's where you will be able to grow in leaps and bounds. Hope that helps.
Oh, yeah. Yes, absolutely. I think um, this has been different. I've asked this to a couple of folks, and the way you approach this was really different. Might work a lot for a lot of people if the execution is on point. I think our people are generally too hesitant to make such claims. Output seems like a more safer bet to say, but higher the risk, better the reward, as they say. Um,
Yeah. And
so,
and the problem with that, Kaustab, is the more people focus on outputs, they will be
mhm.
replaced by AI in the market in the next 6 to 12 months.
Hmm,
Where nobody is looking for
right.
outputs, right? AI can write for me, AI can code for me, AI can build for me, but AI can't create money, print money for me. I still have to go this thing. So the person who can create an outcome knows the strategy of using these tools to make money, whereas the person who only knows outputs will soon be replaced. I have no doubt about that. Maybe that's an interesting domain to focus on in the next 1 year.
Absolutely, Pramod. This was great, Pramod. I mean, I cannot actually, I was thinking at the end, I will pinpoint that, okay, these kinds of users would be really appreciative of the way you've taken these questions. But I think this is really helpful to, I think, professionals, early entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who are in their growth stages. I think like everyone can learn a lot from this podcast, and I'll make sure to like add your LinkedIn so that people can reach out to you and at least like get on with the book that is about to go live.
Yeah,
Um, really,
I'm also available on Instagram right now because a lot of my
okay,
friends and followers have told me that I should be on Instagram, not LinkedIn, apparently. So I would love to
maybe
meet
because of
all of you.
Evallo.
Yeah, and I would love to meet all of you, to connect with all of you on Instagram as well. As always, you can find everything that I do over at pramodgeorge.com. And if you guys want personal training to build and launch your apps in 30 days, well, that's something I have a special offer for maybe Kaustab and the students of Sharpener. If Kaustab, if that's something you're interested in, I'll be happy to share something that's specially for you and your students. And hopefully that'll help you, will help your team as well.
All right, okay, sure. Thanks a lot, Pramod, for this session, and I'll definitely try to reach out to you again and maybe get more insights on Evallo as and when it reaches to the scale stage.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you, inviting me to the podcast. I'm glad to have shared all of these things with you guys. I hope it's helpful, and I wish you also all the best in your endeavors. I hope Sharpener also reaches, great heights, and I will also be watching closely. And I'm glad to have made this friendship, and and I'm hoping for more such conversations in the future. Take care, Costa.
Awesome. You do. Take care. Thank you.
Take care.